Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to my channel Science to Technology. In today's show, Rocket Monday, we're going to talk about space news of 2024, 22 March. So let's dive deep into it. So the first news is Space One Kairos. Now this puppy is a small solid fueled Japanese small launch vehicle. Now it was first time tried for 13 March 2024, Universal Time Coordinate 2 in the morning. So it did work, it did clear the pad, and then computer was like nope, and T plus 5 seconds it just went boom. And I have no idea how the heck the boom was so weak that a whole segment of the booster actually fell back. You can see there's a lot of good footage about this. Uh, the booster fell back and it was setting things on fire, and you cannot actually put out the fire. So you can see like there is a whole segment fell. It did not disintegrate as expected. So this happened. Now this is one of those things that you have to be ready when you are dealing with rockets. It does go boom. It does take a lot of time and very deep pocket to handle it. Then we come to another lack of deep pocket, that is National Science Foundation, and this puppy is responsible for the science things that happens in USA, and unfortunately they are facing some budget cuts. So that budget cuts was basically choose between two puppies. One is a giant Magellan telescope that is 25 meters, another is 30-meter telescope. These two were parallelly being developed. One was much further along. This had too much political stuff going around, but it was still working. Things were being done. And as of now, because of this penalty that you have to choose one, most likely 30-meter telescope would be compromised, which people do not want it because they're supposed to work with in conjunction with another large European telescope, and both of them should provide a very large, 100% coverage for 100% of celestial sphere. So that's no longer a viability. Now you have to understand why one is 25 meter, one is 30. 30 meter one has segmented mirror. Now this technology allows us to make huge mirror, extremely large telescopes. Consequences, diffraction. When every edge is there, there is a serious diffraction in that position. That's why you have diffraction. Like that fundamentally limits it. You can see that in James Webb telescope also. It does allow you to have a large mirror, but if you can make a large single segment mirror, you will prefer this because it has much higher resolving power, because of it does not suffer from diffraction. So this Magellan, the idea of having largest segment that they can financially afford, build that. So that's why even though this design in principle is lower power than this one, this will have better clarity. This would be like HD, this will be like 4K in terms of resolving power, because again there is no diffraction happening. Of course circular edges do cause some diffraction, but much less compared to hard 90 degrees, not 90 as in like the hexagon things. So that is why this design was chosen. However, the primary victims of this decision would be US astronomical community, because be mindful, astronomy is a very competitive field. Like if you do not have too much telescope, only the few telescopes that are working, every researcher will be fighting for the time on that. That's why we keep building more telescopes. But if you compromise one of them, that means the time available, it's get divided up among much larger community. Consequence, the time becomes much more competitive. And it has been a slow declining trend where over time more and more research and development is going to Europe. So it started with particle collider, and now even in terms of astronomy. To give you a context, while USA is dealing with these things, European Union is building 40-meter extremely large telescope. This is supposed to be a condemnium to it, basically a puppy, a brother and sister kind of system. But this will be cancelled. So let's see. It was, now be mindful, the mirror for Magellan is much further along, and it takes years to grind, years to make, like 7-8 years kind of thing. So yeah, this is much further along. So most people are reasonably sure that this will be completed, this will be compromised. Tragic, but it does happen. Then we come to another observatory, that is Chandra X-ray Observatory. Now we were talking about ground telescope, then we are talking about space telescope. Now you have to understand this. Once you have built the telescope, once you have launched it, once you have commissioned it, does not mean your budget stops. You still have to spend a bonkers amount of money in order to maintain it, in order to do data collection, point it, maintain it, and sort through all the data and keep fine-tuning the instrument. So it takes serious amount of money. Now this puppy was launched in 1999 over space shuttle, utilizing space shuttle, and in NASA's fiscal year plan for 2025, the budget proposal that was released in March 2024, this month, they're saying that they're going to reduce operating budgets for two great telescopes. One telescope is Hubble, that will be reduced, and Chandra, both are facing reduced pressure. Now Chandra will suffer more for this because they are going from $68 million to $41 million. So that is very significant. Now this is almost end of life kind of planning, which is tragic given the fact that it is actually functional. Now NASA do say that it is has degraded performance, but given the fact that how how much effort we have put into Hubble, this is like, bro, I'm good. Like, this is almost a travesty. And given the fact there is no other high resolution X-ray telescope right now, so this is the best way to verify any claims that James Webb Telescope makes. So James Webb Telescope is very good for infrared, but if you have to see high energetic events, you need to go into X-ray. This is the X-ray puppy. So compromising this is unwise, and you can't build X-ray telescopes underground, in atmosphere. So it has to be in space. So there is some serious issue here. So Chandra X-ray would be compromised. Now be mindful, a lot of people are fighting against it because again, it's much healthier compared to all other telescopes, especially against Hubble. But let's see what happens. Likelihood is low. Now we come to another rocket company. This was again the same as Space One, small satellite launch service provider, this puppy. Now their core selling point was they're going to do rapid launches and flexible locations, meaning you can launch wherever you need it from. However, first few missions were boom missions. They were almost going exactly how SpaceX went. So one went to the orbit, did not have delta V. One went the fairing did not detach. One literally went space X, space Y. So this happened. So here's a penalty for this. When SpaceX was building, there was not enough competition. People were willing to take much more risk, and they had the luxury of that. Elon Musk brought $100 million like a bank puppy. It's like, I got $100 million, and they were working for SpaceX contract. So if they showed something, there was a fixed customer. They did not have this luxury. So 4 boom events in their scenario meant everybody pulled out their payload. And you have to understand, payloads are insured based on the launch selection. Meaning, if you say, hey, I'm going to launch this puppy on Falcon 9, the launch premium would be much lower. If you say, I'm going to launch it on Vulcan, premium would be high. Why? Again, it's only one time they have launched it. So, and now if you say, I'm going to launch it on Astra, premium would be so high that it's like you might as well build 2 of them because it would be that high, because they're like, hey, they tried all the time they're failing. So that's why, and again, be mindful, the payload, even if it's cheap, it's still a payload. Somebody still put a lot of effort into building that. And nowadays they have a choice. They can just like, hey, instead of trying with this, what if I go to Rocket Lab's Electron rocket? So that's why I said, like, in early days, too many company floods in, and over natural selection cycle, only few survive. So this was a victim, so to say. Now, as of now, when I'm making this, all the boom events implement, they did build a very good factory. They had a very good, they literally followed the philosophy of SpaceX directly, but they did not have the financial pocket, so to say. So fundamentally, they went from a private company to publicly traded company to back to private company, trying to fend off absolute bankruptcy. Now, is there chances that they will succeed? Very, very low, but they may switch to some other things like making engines and things of that nature. Let's see what happens, but likelihood is very low. And this is another thing that you have to be understand. If you see your launch market, national launch market, randomly being flooded with way too many small satellite launch provider, most of them will turn to dust. It's one of the, and that's why even Rocket Lab is very strictly aware that Electron is not going to take them far. They are working their ass off on Neutron. Now we come to the most big news here. ULA is for sale. Now this has been a rumor for quite some time, and there has been substantial backing behind it that it is for sale. And there is some right now some serious rumors that Jeff Bezos has decided to buy it. Now people who track basically wealth of rich people, and when they move large stock offerings, they notice some trends. Like, and when Jeff Bezos moves it, he moves so much money that it's like it's super easy to trace. So something happened, and that's why right now it's almost confirmed that he may have made a bid, or may have been like, bro, I got this. So there is serious probability. So of course I cannot absolutely vouch for it, but there is very good chance this happened, is that they have bought it. Now, what's the advantage? Advantage is Blue Origin will, well, they are the first engine provider for this new rocket. So If they directly have it, they no longer have basically competitively have to fight for their own engines, because right now all the engines they make, Vulcan gets the first dips on it, so that's an issue. So that will fight for engines, and they are not mass producing as fast as SpaceX, so they do have some serious limitation. And in terms of ULA does have logistics knowledge, meaning how do you collect satellites from army payloads, how do you integrate them, how do you launch them, how do you run the operations. They do have some serious experience there. While Blue Origin slowly is growing, buying a competent partner like this is a very good option. Now, there is a very serious risk that if this happens, ULA's executive class will take large paychecks. Some people will go to Blue Origin, but majority will be slowly laid off. It will not happen overnight. That's very clear. It will not happen overnight. They will never do this, because that's a very bad press. So you will make people forget about it, and slowly first layoff, then second layoff, then third layoff. That's how it happens. So I'm reasonably sure if they have Vulcan rocket, they will discontinue this. 5 launches, 6 launches, depending how much far they have planned, how much metal they have acquired, how much machining they have done. Because again, these things are done in pipeline. So they will cap up at the last of it. And also, they will keep it running for a few years to make sure that this puppy gets underway, so to say. So, lack of a third player in the market for big launch. Let them be very clear. Big launch, not for small satellite launch vehicle. There are many companies that are doing small satellite launch vehicle. Very few that can, hey, I'm launching a geostationary to geostationary orbit. There are very few of that. ULA was a big darling for that, simply because it was very good. Like in terms of logistics, they were very well integrated with US Space Force and armed forces, so to say. So, losing of this caliber of player, it is bad, because there is a tiny probability, again not zero probability, there is tiny probability that even though Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, they may not get in bed together, the CEOs of these two companies, Blue Origin has different CEO and SpaceX has different CEO, they can get into bed together and be like, hey, what if we price control? Yeah, and then USA will lose. Now be mindful, that is still leaps and bounds ahead compared to every other country. So it's like, it's a like good problem to have, but in long term, if you really want to grow, you do want third player. So right now people are desperately hoping that Neutron turns out to be a success, because I have not seen any other company that can challenge that big puppy market, and nobody has enough talent pool and enough experience to get big loans that you would need in order to launch something like this. Now Jeff Bezos has like, bro, I am the pocket. It's not deep pocket, I am the pocket. So he does not have to worry, but other players have to worry. So let's see. This was the most rumor that I have heard. So this was my presentation on some news events that have happened this time. Hopefully you have liked it, learned from it. In that case, please hit the like button, share it amongst your friends. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I urge you to press dislike, press it twice to show me extra disappointment. Please leave a comment, because I do try to reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free, and as always, thanks for watching.